Hello everyone, in this video I will show you how to use Google Sheets if you don't have Microsoft Excel. So let's get started. If you don't have Microsoft Excel, you can use Google Sheets to complete some of your assignments because Google Sheets is a spreadsheet program just like Excel. But if you have a Gmail account, you will have access to Google Sheets for free. So to get to Google Sheets, I will show you the way that I like to get to it. So when you go to google.com, make sure you are logged into your Google account, and you'll know it by your picture right here on the top right hand side of your web browser. Then go to the Google Apps icon, and you can navigate to Google Drive. And from here you can start a new Google Sheets, but I would like to put my new Google Sheets in this folder called Vessel Exercise. So I'm going to double click that. And to start a new Google Sheets, you can go to new, the new button right here, or you can click right here in this blank area and choose Google Sheets. Okay, I'm going to go to Google Sheets and I'm going to choose from a blank spreadsheet. Okay, so that is how you start a new spreadsheet. This is the user interface for Google Sheets. So let's take a look at some of the elements here. At the top left hand side is the file name. Okay, right now it doesn't have a file name because it's a new spreadsheet. Right under the file name are the tabs. Okay, and then right under the tabs are the tools, the most common tools that you will use for Google Sheets. Okay, and under the tools you'll see the formula bar. Okay, and you'll know it because it has this FX. Okay, and this is the formula bar. So similar to the formula bar in Microsoft Excel. Under the formula bar is the spreadsheet, right? So with the columns, column A, B, C, and so on. And then the rows, 1, 2, 3, and so on the left-hand side. Okay. And if you go down from there, you'll see the sheet, right? So similar to Microsoft Excel, when you start a spreadsheet, this will be your workbook. And in the workbook, you have different sheets, right? So right now at the bottom left, you'll see it is sheet 1. And you can add a new sheet, a different sheet, by clicking this add sheet sign, the plus sign right here, and it'll add another sheet. So let me click it right now. And if you look, it added sheet 2, right? So let's say this one you can, like for me as a teacher, I can use this for period 1, right? I just double clicked the name and I'm going to type period 1. And if I want this to be sheet 2 to be period 2, I can double click on sheet 2 and then I can type in period 2 and then press enter. So within one workbook or spreadsheet, you can have different sheets. Okay, and this is the interface for Google Sheets. Just like Microsoft Excel, in Google Sheets, the mouse cursor is very important. And that means depending on where you put your mouse cursor, you can do different things. So for example, if you look at the cell that I have selected, okay, if I move my mouse cursor to the blue outline, and let me zoom in. So if I move my mouse cursor to the blue line, you see how it changes to a hand or a glove. Okay. If I move my mouse cursor all the way to the rows and I move it to be between 4 and 5, row 4 and 5, you see how my mouse cursor has changed into an arrow that goes up and down, right? And if I move my mouse cursor to the formula bar, it moves to the I-beam or the text cursor. Okay, so pay attention to the mouse cursor. Okay, depending on where you put it, okay, it will do different things for you. Okay, and that's going to be important moving forward. Also, just like Microsoft Excel, each box in the spreadsheet here is called a cell. Okay, and like Microsoft Excel, they are named after the column and row. Okay, so this very first cell right here is going to be A1, right? And if you go over to this cell next to it, this is going to be cell B1. And if you go down, it will be cell B2. Okay, so very similar to Microsoft Excel. Next, I want to talk about saving, closing, and opening a Google Sheets spreadsheet. If I want to save this particular spreadsheet, okay, I will first have to go up to the top and rename the file name, right? So I'm going to go up to the file name, click it, and give it a name. So for this one, I'm just going to name it example1 and press enter. And Google will automatically save this spreadsheet into your Google Drive. Okay, and if anytime you make changes to your spreadsheet, okay, Google will automatically save it, so you don't have to go to File and Save, or you don't have to Control S. Okay, Google will automatically do that for you. So let's go to the File tab so I can show you. If you go to the File tab, as you can see, there are no save options here, right? Because like I said, Google will automatically save any changes that you make to the spreadsheet. If you want to close this spreadsheet, okay, you can just go to the Windows tab up here for Chrome, and then you can just close this tab by clicking on this little X right here to close this window, right? Uh, Now, if you don't see the file right here the file that we just saved, okay, you can refresh the screen by pressing the shortcut key F5. So I'm going to press F5, and as you can see, the example1, the spreadsheet is here. And if you want to open a spreadsheet, there are a couple of ways to open it in Google Sheets. But I will show you the way that I like to open it. And by going to your Google Drive, right? And just opening your spreadsheet from there, okay? So let's open up example1 back up again. Just double click this spreadsheet, and Google will open it up in Google Sheets, and then you can just start working on it. Okay, so that is saving, closing, and opening a file in Google Sheets. Next, I want to cover entering data. And to enter data, all you have to do is click on a cell and start typing. Okay, so I'm going to start with the months on row 1. And I'm going to start on cell B1. I'm going to type in January and then press enter. And if I want the months across this row right here, I can use the autofill function. Okay, now that I have cell B1 selected, okay, so January, I have January selected. You can see the blue outline over the month click, and then on the bottom right hand side you'll see a square. You can click and drag that to fill in the rest of the months. Okay, and similar to Microsoft Excel, that is the autofill handle. Okay, and autofill means it will fill in the rest of what you want. Okay, what is thinking the order is. Okay, so I'm going to click and drag that box across and then let go. And as you can see, it has filled in January, February, right? The months in order for me across row 1. Now I'm going to put the numbers on column A, and I'm going to start on cell A2. I'm going to type in number 1 and then press enter. And on this column, I want an order from 1 through 9, right? So I'm going to go back and select A2, where my number 1 is, and I'm going to click and drag the autofill handle, which is the square right here. Click it and drag it down, and then let go. Now, as you can see, it didn't order it for me, right? It just made copies of the number 1. So how can I do that? And let me show you why it's different when I did it going across. Okay, so I'm going to undo that copying of number 1, and I want it in order. So to put this in order, what you need to do is before you click and drag the autofill handle, you need to press the control key on your keyboard. Okay, and don't let go, right? You need to press the control key and hold it, and then you need to drag the autofill handle with your mouse. Okay, so let's do that. So before I click the handle, I'm going to press the control key on my keyboard, and then I'm going to click with my mouse, click and drag the autofill handle, click and drag down, and then let go of my mouse, click, and then I can let go of my control key on my keyboard. Okay, and that will give me an order for my numbers. Next, I want to cover, cut, copy, and paste. So the keyboard shortcut for cut is Control X. The keyboard shortcut for copy is Control C. And the keyboard shortcut for paste is Control V. Okay, so you should know those by now because those are very, very common keyboard shortcuts for probably um, all of the programs on Windows. So you should know those keyboard shortcuts. So to make a copy of this, so let's say I want to make a copy of the numbers 1 through 9 over here on columns B. Okay, what you need to do is click on one of the numbers or where you want to start the selection, click it and drag all the data that you want to make a copy of it. Okay, you can press Control C and then click on the cell that you want to start to copy it, and then press Control V, and it will make a copy of your data and then paste it on where you want it. Okay, I'm going to undo that. What if you want to move it? Okay, you can cut and then paste. So let's select the numbers 1 through 9, and then you can cut it by pressing using the shortcut keys, Control X, and then you can go over to the cell that you want to paste it, and then do Control V to paste it. And that's one way to move it. Okay, so that's cut and paste. Let me undo that. For me, if I want to move some data, I'm going to use my mouse. I'm going to select the data that I want to move, And then if you see the blue outline, okay, the blue box or selection, you can move your mouse cursor to the border of that, which is the blue outline, and you'll see that your mouse cursor has turned into a hand. You can click and hold it and then drag it to where you want to move that data, right? So let's say I want to move it to right here into column C. I can let go, and I have moved my data. So that is cut, copy, and paste. Next, I want to cover formatting columns and rows. Okay, at the top going across are my columns, and this is column A. And if I want to make columns A narrower, okay, what you need to do is move your mouse to the border between columns A and B. Okay, so let me move my mouse right there. So pay attention to the mouse cursor. I'm going to move it. Now that I am in the border between columns A and B, my mouse cursor has changed to be an arrow that's pointing left and right. And I can also see a strip of blue, right? A thick strip. What that means is that I can change uh, the uh, the width of column A. Okay, so now that I have my mouse cursor between columns A and B, I can click and hold my mouse cursor and drag it to the left to make columns A narrower. Okay, now, if I want to make column B wider, okay, I can move to the border between B and C, click and drag that and move it to the right, and column B will be wider. Okay. Now, if I want to make, what if I want to make multiple columns the same size? Okay, in Google Sheets, what you need to do is select the first column that you want to change. Okay, so select the column by clicking on the column up here, the column letter, and I want to make A, B, C, and D the same size. So I want to select all four of those columns. To do that, make sure you have the first column selected. Go to the last column that you want to resize. Press the shift key on your keyboard and then press the mouse button, right, to select columns A, B, and C, and D. Okay, so that's what you need to do is, uh, so let me do that again. Select uh, column A, press and hold down the shift key, go to column D, and then click your left mouse button, and you will select A, B, C, and D. Now I can go to any of the borders uh, that I in my selection, and I can click and drag it to resize my columns, right? So let's say I want to make it this big. Now columns A, B, C, and D will automatically be the same size, right? So they will be the same width. If you want to change the height of the rows, you can do the same thing. You can move your mouse cursor to be between 1 and 2. Make sure it changes into an arrow that points up and down. Click it and drag it down to change the height of the rows. Okay, and if you want to change or make a couple of rows to be the same size, select one of the row, press shift, and then select the last row that you want to change the height. And then you can click and drag on any of the borders in between that selection, and you can drag up or down to make it the same height, right? So now I have rows 1, 2, 3, and 4. They are the same height, and that is how you format uh, columns and rows in Google Sheets. there is one more thing that I want to show you about formatting columns and rows, and that is merging cells. So let me move my data one row down, and I want to add a title right here, but I want to merge all these cells, okay? So what I would need to do is select the cells that I want to merge. And what that means is I want to combine all those cells into and make it into one cell, right? So it's like making one box out of many boxes. So I would have to select cell A1 all the way to, let's say I want to do it all the way to G1. Okay, select all those cells, make sure it's in blue, and then the merge cell would be this uh, icon right here. It's next to the borders icon, and then you can click merge cells, and it will merge all those cells. And now if I click away, you can see that all the cells from A1 all the way to G1 looks like one cell, right? One big cell. And that is how you merge cells. Next, I want to cover formatting text. And to do that, just select the text that you want to format. And if you look at the most common tools, it will be right here in the toolbar, okay, right under the tabs, okay, and you'll see the font type right here. You'll see the font size, and then you'll see bold, italic, strike through, and the text color. And if you don't see everything here on the toolbar, you'll see these three dots. I have my screen really big, so then it doesn't fit on the toolbar. So you can click, if you don't see everything, you can click here on the more, and you'll see more options for alignment, okay, for both horizontal alignment and vertical alignment, right? And then text wrap option is here, and then the text orientation or rotation is here as well. Okay, so these are the tools that you would use to format text. If I want to format numbers, it is also here in the toolbar, and it is very similar to Microsoft Excel. So if I want to make this number one right here on column C, cell C2, if I want to make it to add a dollar sign to it, okay, I will go to the toolbar right here, look for the format as currency tool, and then click it, and it will make that into a dollar sign. It will add a dollar sign, and it will add the two decimal points for the cents. If I want to, if I don't want to see the decimal points, right? I can either decrease or increase the decimal places. So let's say I only want to see the one with the dollar sign and not the cents, not the zeros. I can decrease the decimal to just see $1 here, right? And if I want that dollar in percentage, right, I can click at format as percent, and it will format that into a percentage for me. So I can switch between dollar sign or percentage here. If I want to see more formatting options for numbers, I can click on the more formats here, and you can see accounting, and you can see dates and time as well. You just need to scroll down to see all of it, and that is the way to format numbers into any format that you want. One more thing about number formatting. So let's say, for example, I'm going to put a date. So I'm going to put 6. Oh, sorry. I'm going to put 6/1/20 and press enter. And I want to show 06/01/20. I would have to go to a custom format. Okay, And to do that, I will have to go to the number more formats and then choose custom. And as you can see, I can't see here because I made my uh, screen too big. I'm going to reduce the size. Okay, so I'm going to make it 100% again. And to do that, you can just click the more numbers format. Okay, more format, and then choose more formats here and do custom number format. Click it, and it'll have the date right here. And as you can see, it says month slash D, it's date, day slash year, right? So you can change that to be MM, so it'll be 2 digits. Change the dates to have to DD, which is 2 digits. And then I'm going to choose apply here. And as you can see, it has changed my month to 06/01 20, right? So you can use the custom number format if you don't see a format that you like. Next, I want to cover calculations and formulas. So let's make a couple more columns here of numbers. I'm going to delete this column uh, of data. And let me add some numbers to January. Let me start with the number 2. And I'm just going to add some numbers here really quick. Let me make one more column of numbers. And I want to total those up. So for this row, this is the sum, okay, for these 3 months. And to do a formula, it is this, the same as Microsoft Excel. You will have to press equal, and then these I want the sum or the total, so I'm going to press S. And as you can see, if I press in one letter, it'll bring up a list of all the formulas that start with S. And I want the sum, so it's right here. I'm going to click on sum, and it will add the sum to it, right? Or apply sum. And I want to apply the sum all the way from B2 all the way to B10. So I'm going to click on B2, click and drag all the way to B10, and then I can press enter, and that will do the it will calculate the sum for that uh, column. Now, instead of typing equal and then type in the sum, I can use the auto sum function as well, just like Microsoft Excel. And the auto sum button is this. It looks similar to Microsoft Excel. Right up here, the functions tool. Okay, and I can click it, and it will have some of the most common formulas or functions that we use, which like the sum, the average, the min, max, right, and count. So I want the sum for this row. I'm going to choose sum, and then it's asking me to select which cells that I want to add. I'm going to add from C2 all the way to C10. So select those, press enter, and it'll do the sum for me. Okay. So now if I want to do a sum for columns D, you don't have to go to function. If you want the same thing, you can use the autofill. Okay. So now that I have this box selected, so let me start over. Let me delete these. And I want to use autofill for this, so I'm just going to do autofill for the first for January. I want the sum, and I'm going to choose my boxes, press enter. And now instead of doing auto sum or calculating the sum for each column, you can use the autofill. I can just click on the autofill handle, drag it over, and that will copy the formula for me. Okay, and that will calculate the formula, uh, the total. If you want to do the average, okay, I'm going to undo that. You can go to the uh, auto sum function up here, choose average, okay, select the cells that you want to average, press enter, and then use the autofill to fill in the average for the other columns that you want. Okay, so that is calculations and formulas for Google Sheets. Here I have a small data table, and if you want to do some sorting in Google Sheets, this is what you need to do. If you look at row 1, I have the months. These are called headers. Okay, it's just the title for each column. And what you would need to do to sort is you need to freeze the header. Okay, so this is how you would freeze a header, and I'll show you what it means by freezing a row or freezing the header. So I would just select a any cell in row 1, go to view and freeze. Okay, and I would freeze one row. I could choose this one or up to the current row, and it'll tell you that it's one row. So I'll choose to freeze one row. And if you look at my data table, it has this gray, this light gray line that runs all the way across for row 1. And what that does is that now row 1 is frozen, and no matter where I go in my spreadsheet, I will always see row 1. Okay, let me show you what that means. So now if I scroll down, okay, pay attention to row 1. So let me scroll down, and I'm scrolling with my mouse wheel. And as I scroll down, row 1 is frozen, so I will always see it. Okay, that's what it means by freezing a row. Okay, so if I keep going down, okay, as you see, my row is changing, and row 1 is frozen, so I will always see it. Okay, so that's what it means by freezing a row. So in order to sort, I would need to freeze row 1 first, and then now I can sort. So I want to sort my bills by alphabetical order. I can go to data and then sort my sheet by column A from A to Z, so that's in alphabetical order. Or I can go to my column I up here, mouse over it, and you'll see this drop down menu. You can click that, and then you can sort the sheet from A to Z, right? So I'm going to sort that one from A to Z. So now it's in alphabetical order. If I want to sort by the smallest amount, so small number to big number, okay, so as in on row J, I can click on this little drop down menu for row J. I can sort from A to Z, which is from small to big. So this is how you can sort in Google Sheets. If you want to insert a picture, you can go to the Insert tab up here next to the View tab. Click Insert and scroll down to where it says Image. Okay, and Google Sheets give you two options. You can insert an image in a cell, okay, which is a new feature, or you can insert an image over the cells. Let me choose image over cells, and it'll bring up this pop-up menu, and you can choose to insert the image from your computer, okay, or your camera, or Google Drive. So let me go to Google Drive, and I'm going to insert this image right here that says sign. I'm going to click that, and I'm going to choose insert, and now I have my image inserted. And just like Microsoft Excel, I can drag from the corner, okay, to make it smaller or bigger, okay, and I can resize that, and then I can move it around my spreadsheet to where I want it. Okay, so let's say I want it right here. I can resize it and drag it right there. And that's how you insert a picture. To print in Google Sheets, you can go to File and then go all the way down to Print, or you can click this button right here, this printer button, and it'll take you to the print screen, or you can Control P on your keyboard. So let me just click this print tool right here, and it will take you to some little preview of your printout. From here, you can change your page orientation from landscape to portrait if you want. Let me just zoom out of that. Okay, or you can change the margins right here from normal to narrow to wide. And then once you have finished with the options here, you would click next, and it will bring up the print to printer screen. And make sure your destination right here, you have the correct printer selected. Uh, and once you have that selected, you can print even or odd pages or all the pages. You can select how many copies you want, and then you will go to print to print out your page. And Google Sheets makes it really easy to make printouts of your spreadsheet. The last thing that I want to cover is inserting a chart. So in order to insert a chart, you would have to select your data, and there are two ways to get to the chart tool. You can go to the Insert tab, and then from there scroll down, and you'll see Chart. Another way to insert a chart, so we click out of that, is make sure you have your data selected on your toolbar. If you go all the way to the right, you'll see the Insert Chart button right here. So let's click that. And Google Sheets will automatically insert a chart for you. If you want to change the chart type, let's say I don't want this bar chart, I can, from the chart editor, change it, right? But what if I click here? So I'm going to click in an empty spot, empty cell here. And now the chart editor is gone. To, to get back to the chart editor, I can just double click the chart, okay? So you can just double click the chart, and then the chart editor will pop up back. And then you can choose the chart type that you want. So let's say I want a pie chart. I'm going to click on the pie chart, and now I have a pie chart, and then I can change the titles if I want, and I can change some of the chart elements if I want. Thank you for joining me in this Google Sheets video. I hope to see you in the next one.